So your glasses, you need a...
Yeah. See, that was nice and PG. Glasses. Wild.
Yeah. Why don't you just, you don't have a spot for your fucking keys.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, but you never put them there.
No, but it's there. It's that naked brass lady.
Oh, I forgot about that one. Because I feel like someone like you...
I put them away if I'm done for the day.
Well, I feel like someone like you, it should be like a bowl or something at the front door.
Yes.
Like
It should be.
It should be something like that. So when you get home, you have your keys in your hand, you can just put...
Well, I mean, there's that hanging thingy. You can put them there.
Yeah.
But
but also I think the act of just dropping them in a spot is a lot. Because it's like the hanging. I don't know. Maybe the action of that would like train your brain, but you can't really. I've seen you try to train your brain.
Well, now I'm gonna look for a cool bowl at Goodwill.
Sounds good.
For keys.
And then I need to find a new spot for my laptop.
You we'll put the bowl up against. This is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's mixtape.
Ha!
Hello.
Ha!
Welcome to TJ's mixtape. I'm Tommy. That's Jacob. We are a movie review podcast. We're two long friends that like movies, so we talk about them, who made them, who's in them, kind of go to the themes and ideas of said movie, and then give it a rating. The rating is arbitrary, but we like to put it on there as a nice little end to it. The rating doesn't really mean anything,
It goes from
and it's just our opinion. So if you like the movie or didn't like it, don't listen to us. It's just what we thought.
I want to create a rating system now that's just sounds. I give it a...
There you go. That's homework for you. Before we get into it, we're gonna play our movie connection game.
Oh, yeah.
Actor connection.
You remember
game.
today. Hey.
So at the beginning of each episode, we go over two different stars and connect them via co-stars and movies they've been in to see the closest relation that they do have. Last week was two oldies looped back around. We use a random generator kind of thingy. But it was Eddie Murphy to
Helena Bonham Carter.
Yeah, I just wrote Carter. I couldn't remember her first name.
What? Do you wrote down Bonham Carter?
I just wrote down Carter and Murphy.
Oh.
And so I totally blanked on her full name. But yeah, I forgot to play. So Jacob's going to take the lead on that one.
It's a quick one. Helena Bonham Carter is in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein with Robert De Niro.
And Robert De Niro's in Showtime.
With Eddie Murphy.
I do love that movie.
I've never seen it.
No? I think you'd like it. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Satire on that cop thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird. There's so many random movies that I have like the movie poster in my head or like the trailer, and I remember seeing through years, but have never actually watched the movie. So I'm very familiar with all of these movies that actors have been in, but have never seen these movies.
The whole idea too is Eddie Murphy is a cop, but he wants to be a superstar.
Yeah.
And then Robert De Niro
is an actual cop.
Well, they're both actual cops, but Eddie Murphy has ideas of grandeur.
Oh, I might be getting the story confused with another one where there's like the cop and then like the actor who's wanting to...
De Niro's a decorated detective. Murphy is a beat cop.
Yeah. Anywho.
William Shatner's in it.
I see you want to be...
Teaching them how to be TJ Hooker.
Oh, God. All right. Anywho, but yeah, that's it. At the end of the episode, we will do another random generator. And I did, since I realized that we had done Helena and Eddie before, I was like, well, maybe we should keep track of which actors and actresses we're doing, so there isn't a weird repeat. Even though it's always going to be a different connection of two different people.
I mean, yeah.
You kind of start, like, I was thinking with Helena Bonham Carter, like, how can I get to Eddie Murphy with Ocean's 8? I was like, well, I used Ocean's 8 in the last one.
I tried Zoolander.
Zoolander?
Eddie Murphy to Owen Wilson and I Spy to Zoolander, because there's so many people in that I was like, there has to be something there. I got that far and then I stopped playing. Yeah,
fair. Anywho, today, starting a new block inspired from this movie. We just they had this movie. It was recommended to us. We decided to watch it. and now we're moving into doing, I guess it's a grief after lost loved one.
Yeah.
What you do with that grief.
Yeah.
How you find yourself or what have you. Then, so today's movie is The Sea of Trees. Oh, man.
I keep wanting to say The Sea of Thieves.
I keep wanting to say The Sea of Stars.
Ah. Different mindsets.
Yeah. Video game.
Uh-huh.
This is a movie, not a video game that we're talking about.
But off the bat, we're going to go
I'd never heard of it before.
I hadn't either. But off the bat, this movie is very, very heavy on the idea of suicide. So
yes.
That is a lot of the premise of this movie. So if that is something you're sensitive to, don't watch or listen because we're going to talk.
Trigger warning, content warning with it.
We're going to talk a lot about suicide.
We're leaving up a disclaimer on our YouTube, and we'll put into on our Spotify help hotline. If you need anybody, reach out with a friend, or reach out to the hotline. Just reach out to someone.
Yes. But yes,
what is this movie about?
The Sea of Trees. Two men contemplating suicide must fight for survival in a Japanese forest while reflecting on their past.
Yes.
Not totally accurate once you watch the whole thing, but
no. But I mean, that's really
that kind of boils it down.
Yeah. I mean, that's the best way. That's how you'd want to describe it to not ruin it. You know. Yeah. No.
But let's start off with.
Did you like it?
I did. I have my qualms with it, but I get it.
I thought it was fine. Yeah.
I think it did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah, and I agree with that because I am definitely on the fence of I did not like it, but I wasn't like, whoa, blown away. I was just kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I kind of am that way too. I think that
it wasn't a bad movie by any means.
No, and the negative reaction it did get kind of surprises me.
I get it.
I get aspects to it. But for it to be so like meh about from pretty much everyone, like if you get into the reviews and stuff, everyone is at least lukewarm on it. And I was just surprised that there wasn't, because of the fact of like, we've talked about on here is what is the movie trying to say? What is the point is trying to get across? The point is made.
Yeah. There is a weird emotional manipulation. And it's fucking, and I don't know, I found it extremely predictable.
Yeah, but aren't all movies in a sense emotional manipulation because they're presenting a story in which they want you to feel?
Yeah, I guess so. But like its big twist didn't feel like a twist. I was just like, well, now I was just like waiting for it to happen. I was like,
well, the big twist is also kind of rushed.
Yeah.
And it's also spoon-fed to our
Well, I guess that's
character.
not the big twist. It's one of the twists. Well,
the big twist, too, was really spoon-fed to our main character. It wasn't like... It was a forced realization on his own thing. Yeah. It didn't feel like...
You're saying the big twist. I was referring at first what the big twist was, the memory.
The ambulance.
Yeah.
No.
That's not the big twist.
No, I'm talking about the...
Yeah. Anywho.
You're like, what?
I will say, and let's get into director, writer, and everything. Oh wait, no, it came out. It came out released in Cannes May 16th, 2015, to apparently very big negative reaction.
That's what I'm saying. Like it really, people were like, "What the hell is this?" And you're kind of like, "Well,"
and I think it's because it's Gus Van Sant.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
And it's like they were expecting more out of him.
Yeah, but I don't know. I looked at his list and I was like, okay. But anyways. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, but he's always been a really big back height, like up and down type guy.
And then...
It had its worldwide release August 26th, 2016.
Did you count 16?
Yeah, I had 35.
35. I counted. I had 42. I only counted because this is, weirdly enough, the third 2016 movie we reviewed.
We haven't really done a lot in the last more recent decade-ish.
And I was looking at that list, and I was like, there's some good ones on here that'd be kind of cool to check out. Because we did Moonlight, and then, funnily enough, Swiss Army Man.
Oh, yeah. Which I said in the middle of this movie is like, if this movie is funny, if this movie is Swiss Army Man, or no,
yeah,
if Swiss Army Man wasn't funny,
yeah,
that's this movie.
Yeah, and then I had the idea of the same kind of the survival movie where these people are trying to commit suicide, and because of their knee-jerk fight or flight reaction, they keep saving each other.
Yeah. It's like an inverse spy versus spy.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what my head went there.
All right, but yeah, so yeah, directed by Gus Van Sant, who I always get confused with Lars von Trier. He is not Lars von Trier. You know what Lars von Trier's done?
Mm-mm.
Nymphomaniac, Antichrist. Yeah, the really weird shit.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever someone's like, yeah, Gus Van Sant, I'm like,
They did that?
what? But no, Gus Van Sant did movies like My Own Private Idaho, which is what I've never seen all the way through. I really should watch it. I've heard Keanu Reeves is actually really good in it.
That's I was just
For
looking
an
at
early Keanu Reeves movie.
Oh, it was River Phoenix too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
God,
Goodwill,
he was a babe.
Goodwill Hunting, directed that. Directed Milk, and the shot-for-shot remake of Psycho, which, I feel like it's shit on a little bit too hard.
Oh, and then a movie Elephant that I added to our list.
Okay. What's that one about?
Several ordinary high school students go through their daily routine as two others prepare for something more malevolent.
It's about the Columbine shooting, yeah. I think he literally, it's inspired by that.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, 100%, yeah. But yeah, and so Gus Van Sant, he's back and forth. He's had a couple Academy Award nominations. He is a really well-known director, who is not Lars von Trier. Not that guy. But this was written by Chris Sparling, who doesn't really have a huge writing filmography. Biggest ones that pointed out that stuck out to me was Buried with Ryan Reynolds.
The
Ryan Reynolds one?
The coffin one.
Yeah.
I watched that once and I couldn't.
A little too claustrophobic for you?
Yeah, it got me a little.
Yeah. It's good to see. It's fun to see Ryan Reynolds out of his element and actually doing it well, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is that Ryan Reynolds just really kind of, especially with doing Waiting and everything, he just kind of went. Sorry, I forgot to silence my phone. Hi, Matt.
Is he calling you right now?
Yeah, we've been playing phone tag. It was his birthday the other day.
Oh,
we
shit.
just keep missing each other.
Yeah.
What was I saying? Oh,
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, just, especially with doing Waiting
Yeah.
a little while ago. It's he just kind of had this shtick and he fell into it. But when it's with all those, people like Will Ferrell and Steve Carell and stuff.
Jim Carrey.
You get them into these more dramatic things and they're actually really...
Actually, well,
they suit it well,
And then also I would put down Greenland, which is Matt Damon, about greenhouse effect stuff, I want to say. Agriculture. Save the rainforest. No, not really, but... And then a horror one that sounded kind of interesting to me called ATM. A killer traps people into an ATM booth.
Oh, that would go with my isolated incident block with phone booth and Man on a Ledge, I think.
Buried?
And Buried. Oh, there you go. You want to do...
Right?
4 thrillers. Yeah, but that's all that really stuck out to me.
And yeah, it's just... This movie kind of seems like a flash in a pan. It was going to be something... since Gus Van Sant, it could have been something, and then it just kind of he missed the target. Mm-hmm. Because it's wonderfully acted by these 3 wonderful actors. Mm-hmm. Our leading man, Matthew McConaughey, who I forgot we had done. I was sitting there looking at his list and I saw Magic Mike, and then I was like, God damn it. Fucking movie. Still I think about that movie and I get angry.
For such a prolific actor, the fact that these are the 2 of his that we've done is kind of mind-blowing to me.
I feel like we've just kind of tried to avoid a lot of his stuff too. Maybe.
Yeah, but there's just Mud and Lincoln Lawyer. And these are all, that's the thing though, these are movies I've heard about and I haven't seen yet.
You haven't really seen a lot of Matthew McConaughey, have you? Other than his rom-com stuff.
Yeah, and I like him a lot. And then seen him in interviews and stuff.
And he's fucking weird.
Yeah.
I like it.
He's cool.
I think you might be fun to hang out with.
Yeah, you might get me to do some shit.
While he just laughs at you.
Yeah.
It's like, why did you do that? You told me to. I know.
Here's a cookie.
All right. My post also on Interstellar, Killer Joe, I think you would like Killer Joe.
That's what I'm saying. It's like there's a bunch of movies I think I'd like a lot. So.
And then I have, who do you have next?
I had Ken just
Ken
because he
Watanabe.
He had more active screen time in the present that we were watching.
True.
So yeah, I put Ken.
Most recognizably for American audiences, I would say it's probably like Batman Begins or Inception.
Last Samurai.
That was his like American introduction, yeah. Last Samurai. So, and I haven't seen any of his actual Japanese
the Godzilla
stuff.
franchise.
He played Masamune in this like biographical like or TV show in Japan, which is fucking Masamune's never mind.
And Tokyo Vice, which is a show I've been wanting to watch for a long time.
And then our wife, Naomi Watts, who we did in The Ring.
Yeah, not too long ago.
I forgot that we did The Ring. I was trying to think. I was like, I feel like we've done her. And then I wrote down Movie 43 because that seems to be coming up a lot lately. Weirdly enough.
I wrote down St. Vincent because that's a movie I really want you to watch.
Do you want to do Mulholland Drive? Do you want to do some David Lynch soon?
Sure.
Let's go down that path.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. I mean,
you said you wanted to do King Kong.
Yeah, I've been wanting to. I just can't think of anything to pair with it.
Yeah, okay.
Because I remember that being pretty good. Like it's a big production.
Peter Jackson.
Yeah, and I just remember it. Great cast.
Brain Dead. Yeah, I was like, we've done Peter Jackson. We did Frighteners. And then we watched Brain Dead.
Yeah, we
just
watched it.
That's
yeah.
right.
You're just like, you need to check this movie out. Yeah. And I was pretty blown away. All right, give us our score so I can get to the reviews.
Yeah, we're going into reviews. Oh, we're going a little bit quicker in this episode. Well, there's not a lot of people to talk about, actually. You know?
No, so I want to talk about the movie.
Yeah. So this was kind of up and down all over the place with our reviews. IMDb, it's got a 6.1, which I was like, okay, I got it. I get that. And then on Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 17% tomato meter. That blew my mind. 17%.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not that bad. Like, critics really tearing it apart that bad is kind of crazy, I think.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I was getting to.
And then a 44% popcorn meter. That makes sense because I feel like this is... If you're a fan of any of these people that are a part of it, it's definitely a movie that I think you would enjoy, but it's not really very accessible to all audiences. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, yeah, because I mean, I think also just the bare minimum of the topic that it is.
Yeah.
You know, there are quite a handful of movies. I don't know, Little Miss Sunshine, Risk Cutters, A Love Story.
Mm-hmm.
Those I can't think of. Those are two. I know there's more, but those are two off in my head that deal with this topic, and they almost have this kind of dark comedy, morbid really looking at the reflection of it. And I think this one just came off too heavy-handed.
Do you think this is supposed to have a comedic element to
No.
it? Okay, I was like,
no, I'm just saying that those movies deal with the idea of suicide and attempted suicide. Mm-hmm. They just do it in a really different way, and I think that that's what it is. This came off. There's more lightheartedness.
This came off very preachy.
Yeah, and I don't think that people liked to be preached to about this.
That's kind of fair.
You know, especially if they are people that have had.
I'm really not into the whole scientific man having experience that makes him spiritual type thing as well.
I mean, but that's how it happens. Someone has that's how you become spiritual.
That's how you become brainwashed.
That's how you become, you have something.
Like I know. I know.
It's not a far-fetched idea.
I didn't say it was far-fetched. I said I didn't like it.
Why? Just because you didn't like it?
I just don't. I do think in a narrative, in a storytelling sense, it's kind of like kind of a cop out. It's an easy story to write most of the time. In my own personal life, I also do think it is a lot more harder to change someone's entire belief system like that.
Yeah, but I mean, in this reality that we're talking about, the evidence is pretty concrete.
Yeah, I know.
So.
But it's also all written to be that way.
Yeah. No,
it's contrived.
Yeah.
Like, for this to happen, like, in real life, It's very far-fetched. Happy Easter, everyone.
No, I had a comment, but it was kind of getting to the ending of it a little bit.
The ending of the movie?
Yeah, too quicker than I want to, so I'm not going to save it. I'm not just...
Well, let's get into reviews.
So going back to my initial point about the lack of any kind of real good feelings about this movie, on Metacritic, it has a 23, which comes to generally unfavorable, with 0 positive.
Zero positive.
0. The highest rating is a 60, which comes down to mixed, which is there are 5 mixed, and then 13 negative. That's what kind of blew my mind, honestly. I was like...
So I found an article that said that was like, this movie doesn't deserve the bash that it has gotten.
That's what I mean, though. It's like, I don't think it really does, because it's trying... Yeah, is it preachy? Yeah, but it's talking about a sensitive material in a way that is really giving hope.
This is 2015, 2016.
It's giving hope to a hopeless man. That's the point of the movie, and that's what it does. So you're kind of like, well, the message is clear. It's really straightforward. It's not overly convoluted, even with this whole spiritual thing.
Well, there is one thing where it kind of feels like it has like mystic Asian person helps white man that goes to foreign land.
Okay, well then we are going to talk about that before. That was the joke I was going to make.
Oh,
when you're talking about it not really being not reliable, being grounded, and I'm like, well, the spirit did disguise herself as a Japanese man to talk to her husband.
Well, take out the fact that he's a spirit. It's like it's still just like the whole white man being saved.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that was wild.
Yeah.
That was just like...
I wasn't even bringing up... I wouldn't even mean for it to talk about the spirit thing. I was just the trope of a mystic, like, non-white person saving white person.
Yeah.
You know, that trope.
But there's,
there's
a layer to it. It's a white lady.
Jesus.
I just thought that was wild.
And I can see in this time of 2015, 2016... where these type of tropes are starting to become very tired and tried, and a lot of people don't want to see it anymore. They want to see a proper representation of, you know, Asian culture and kind of an Asian man, as opposed to them being a tool and a device for a white man's problem.
Well, yeah, but do you also think, though, but because of the location, I mean, we didn't even really talk about the location of where we are.
True. So it's in the Aokigahara, forest, which is famous. It's this famous suicide forest.
Yes, it's a forest on like the eastern. I can't remember the
Aokigahara.
On the base of Mount Fuji. It has been well known for acts of suicide in this forest. It's really interesting to read about, because also the fact too that it is at the base of Mount Fuji. It is all volcanic rock, which has a kind of dampening sound property, so the forest is very quiet and has this kind of mysticism, spirituality to it, because people go there to end their lives. But I mean, I guess my point also bringing that up too is like, well, okay, so we want to do it in this forest. We want to make this movie in this forest. Is it weirder to have the spiritual guide not be Japanese, or because we're talking about the idea of the mystic Asian man, Japanese man being the savior of this white guy? I mean, wouldn't it be kind of weirder if it was...
Is he a fully fleshed out character?
No, but none of them really are.
Our main character is, and we have a lot more of a fleshed out character for the wife. And the Asian man becomes a device for the catharsis and the sorrow of the white man.
I wanted to bring this up too, because I just think my feeling is a lot of things ended up on the cutting floor, because while reading about it too, that dinner that they're having that's really passive aggressive and jabby.
Yeah, one of the girls is supposed to be the woman,
the mistress, the fair woman, and you're like, that probably would have been good to know.
Yeah, as an audience, you're not getting that at all as an audience member. Like, did you go back and try to rewatch the beginning of it to see if it says anything with that?
Or, no, but I remember that scene. It's like,
yeah, no, I remember it too.
There's nothing. I mean, there is a conversation between that woman and Watts, and there's definitely
it's a very pointed conversation. Like,
yeah, but that could also be like, oh, she just has this issue with
she's mad at her husband now.
Yeah.
You know?
So it's like, that doesn't really mean anything. But yeah, it was like, that's a weird thing to just not let us know. Like, that's the catalyst to that fight, is that they're still going to dinner with the person you had an affair with. Like, so to me too, that does feel like there were things cut out that they deemed unnecessary, and you're like, technically, yes, that is unnecessary. The story went along without it.
It can carry on without it.
It gave more depth to the situation, and even made him more of an asshole in the sense of, you're going to put your wife through that. Like, no, you don't go to dinner with that person anymore. Yeah. Don't know where the confusion is on that, but that's
also like, who the fuck's her boyfriend or husband? And
it creates a lot of
it was a very
unanswered questions,
and that's what this movie also has a lot of unanswered questions.
Yeah, but
let's go through your reviews.
Oh yeah, we didn't even do that. Sorry. So yes, so for the Tippy Top by Gary Goldstein at the LA Times with the 60, The Sea of Trees proves a stronger movie experience than one might expect. It's anchored by a fine, understated performance by McConaughey and a deeply felt, if at times melodramatic, story that proves strangely immersive.
Yeah.
So, and then I went. At Roger Ebert. Where is Roger? Brian Tallarico at rogerebert.com, who gave it a 25. On paper, it feels like a can't miss, especially when one considers how much it plays with the themes that Van Sant has often brilliantly explored before. Movies don't exist on paper, and this one's a mess. Which I think that I just wrote that one down because that is a fair idea, because on paper, just what we said, with those three people in it, the concept, all right, we have this person and they're going to go to this location that is known for this, and they're going to have this. These three actors are going to explore the ideas of grief and acceptance.
Yeah.
Sure. Studio's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I like that. And so you're kind of like, you really fumbled the ball there.
Yeah.
You got it done, but with just a few seconds left, And then I just wanted to say The Zero at the bottom by Oliver Littleton at the playlist. And this one, just because I made a comment about it. From the cloying, ever-present score to the complete lack of narrative momentum, it all adds up to a film that's easily Van Sant's worst. And it's a sad black mark on McConaughey's mostly excellent recent run. Ultimately, Sea of Trees feels like entirely appropriate title. It makes you feel like you're drowning, and it's full of sap.
It's a little harsh in some parts.
Yeah,
but it's very beginning about the narrative
and the music.
Yeah,
I really think the music was really distracting.
The very beginning of it, it's like, what whimsical adventure are we about to go on?
We're going to Japan.
The setup of this movie, I think, is the best part of the entire film.
Like, basically up until the spiritual journey. Like getting to the airport, getting to Japan, getting to the
I feel like the first half of the movie I really liked. And I was getting invested into it, and then eventually I just got to a point where I was like, man, this is just not going anywhere, and I feel like so very, very beginning, when he pulls into the airport and you see him leave his keys in the car, leave the parking ticket, and go. I was like, oh, he's not planning on coming back. Whatever he's about to do, he's planning on not coming back.
Well, you see, that's the problem right there with the score. Is because that it was two conflicting things at one time, because you already as the audience know something's up because he's doing things that are very out of the norm.
I was kind of like, oh, what's the weird adventure he's about to go on?
And then they put that music on top, and you're like, it's like this very elusive, ominous thing that he's doing, very odd, and then you have this. You're like, I'm not sure how you're supposed to feel right now.
And then he gets to Japan and he gets to the forest and he starts taking his pills, and it's very, very clear what he's there to be doing now.
Yeah.
And then I feel like we've already had some flashbacks. Also, unreliable narrator, I'm going to say it is actually in a big way, for these flashbacks seem to be contrived from his memory. We don't know if these are actual events or his reflection of these events, in my opinion. Which is also another interesting thing for the narrative piece of it all as well. But he puts the coat on Ken to take, because Ken's, hurt and whatnot.
Dying, yeah.
And then we cut back to his wife asleep on the couch after we've already seen them have like a really passive aggressive fight.
Really
uncomfortable fight. And where you can just tell they're unhappy. And he's doing a very like sweet husband loving thing where he's putting his coat on her. He's like doting her a little bit. He's like taking off her shoes. He's like showing that he still loves this woman and cares for her, regardless of whatever like low point they're at.
The troubled past. Yeah.
And then the teapot goes off, or the tea kettle, and it's just like it's all gone, because he's like, you fucking left the stove on and you fell asleep again. You've been drinking again, haven't you? But it was that him using the coat and her asking, do you like the coat? And he's like, it's comfortable. I was like, oh, that parallel just happened. This man in the forest is a reflection of her. And then it carried into even more than just a reflection.
Yeah, no, but
I was picking it up right there. And then after that moment, I was kind of like, oh, this is getting really predictable. And I just kind of started checking out.
That was on the nose, but I still liked it. I still liked the symbolism behind it.
Yeah.
It was an easy narrative to follow, because also, could have gone all M. Night. And
it kind of did.
Yeah, but like bad M. Night.
It could have gone Lady in the Water.
Yeah, could have gone real Lady in the Water there. But
he's been writing the story the whole time.
Well, for anyone that also maybe is still listening that hasn't seen the movie too, this movie does have that problem that we brought up, and I know I've kind of hyper focused on too. There is a little bit, not as bad as other ones, but there is this idea a little bit of not entirely sure what it is, which I know kind of it's me saying that the story is told and is correct. I mean, more in the theme, because it is like this tale of grief, but then it kind of becomes this kind of weird survivalist thriller. And then there's these melodramatic drama moments about this a relationship that's falling apart and coming back together and falling apart.
His physical journey was a representation of his emotional journey.
Yeah. But I just felt like the identity were, I guess that's the thing, is like they were three distinct identities that they didn't mesh very well.
Yeah.
That's all.
I mean,
it's like
it's like if you look at the again, the metaphor on paper, like, oh, this should be a fun watch. How is this not really meshing well together?
That's really what. Yeah, it just doesn't. It doesn't mesh in a great way. But so I just wanted to get that out of
because the survivalist thing is now his journey of redemption. You know? Him now trying to save Ken's character, Takumi. Is now him trying to get out of this despair and this grief for the man who has also changed their mind and doesn't, want to lose their life in the forest anymore.
Well, and that's the thing too, is like kind of going back to Ken. It's like Ken is such a powerhouse actor as well.
Yeah.
And he really doesn't feel utilized.
No.
Which is a real bummer.
And again, it's because Takumi is not a fleshed out character.
Yeah.
Because Takumi is just written to be this device for what's his Matthew McConaughey character's name?
Arthur, right?
Yeah, Arthur.
Arthur, yeah.
Arthur's grief and,
which I mean,
redemption.
I guess that is the idea of a spiritual journey. A spiritual journey is yours to take. Mm-hmm. And we're following his spiritual journey. But like, McConaughey had some really great moments in this.
He does.
Like the funeral home, that scene with them at the fireplace is really interesting because it's a really interesting scene. The lighting's really cool, especially with the darkness and the flames flicking.
The way that they have the sound echoing.
Yeah,
really cool. The sound mix is really interesting.
Well, yeah, in that scene too, there's this like you can really hear the baritone in their voice. It almost like vibrates the room, which I thought was interesting. But it's like that would have been Ken's moment to shine.
but the character isn't
and they didn't
written there for it.
Yeah, and I was like, that's kind of a bummer because he's not really doing the.
And that's where I think that's where this movie's biggest flaw is in the Takumi character, because we have him set up as a man in Japan who is willing to take his life because of his demotion and for his family. And we were given this information about this man that is then completely taken away when all of a sudden it becomes he was some type of spiritual outreach of Joan, of Arthur's wife.
Yeah.
Where, how, and what were all of this world building for Takumi? What did it mean? Why was it there?
Yeah. Like, it would have been probably better to keep Takumi as a person and then somehow make it that he was now, if you're gonna, you're obviously gonna stick with the spiritual thing. You're not getting rid of that in this that's the idea in this movie.
Yeah.
But somehow, and I can think of a couple of ways, but somehow you could write it to where now he's tapped into the other side and he's getting information.
But then that gets a little too tropey as well.
Well, yeah, but
But then it makes sense.
It makes Takumi's struggle real. As opposed to this, it's a facade. It is an orchestrated thing, and that does cheapen it a little bit. And it's not really. I'm only realizing it now talking about it, because it does cheapen it just a little bit. That his dead wife was again just tricking him.
What pills was he taking?
That was another thing that really felt like they were going to lead more into that. That there was going to be some idea, because that whole. Put him in his hand. He dropped a couple of them, and then he put some back, and he took like a more appropriate amount. And you're like, but your first thought is, okay, has he actually been dead this whole time, or has he been laying there hallucinating?
He didn't see Takumi until he had taken a couple of pills, because he went from the handful, and then he went to one.
And then he had like two or three or something.
Two or three. Is this now like the drugs? Creating a person, and now he's just creating a person.
Well, see, and then there's that scene where he has that he falters and he catches himself, and then Takumi's like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm just dizzy." That also felt like they were. Yeah. That felt like they were. That's a pretty interesting.
Which then means that everything that he knew about his wife was already subconsciously there. He was just using an outlet to find it.
Even in that parlor
which
scene,
then takes all of it. It's not spiritual at all. It's all scientific.
With that funeral parlor moment too, it's like you do know these things, but
you're searching for them.
But in this moment of grief and everything,
they're not in there.
They're not there.
They're locked in a cabinet somewhere.
Yeah, they're stored deep under layers and layers of grief rubble. But
I wonder.
It does.
I kind of now want to go back and rewatch the beginning of this movie. Sorry.
It might be one of those rewatch, and you start picking up on little things.
You'll see some like Hansel and Gretel things somewhere.
Yeah.
You'll see. I forget what the two words for yellow and winter or spring. What were the two words?
Yellow and winter.
Is Fuyu and Kiri?
Yuki? I can't remember.
I think it was Kiri.
But yes,
yeah.
But
Fuyu. I remember that one. Fuyu.
But It does, and maybe that is what it is. It's kind of one of those, they want you to rewatch it to kind of catch on these details. But from a first watch, that's always a dangerous thing to do, because if it's designed that way, it could come off like but what I'm thinking right now, that there's things that landed on the editing floor.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, we didn't need
which
that.
is very possible.
Which, yeah, it could be that.
It's so crazy on the Wikipedia page when you see that actress's name and then you see what her character was, and you're just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Because, no one's going to know that.
Well, because...
Unless you look this up on Wikipedia.
Well, and that's the thing. And that's even, with that whole fight that they have in that flashback scene, the affair isn't brought up until the tea kettle thing. Mm-hmm. And you're like, well, knowing that, why wasn't the affair brought up after the dinner? Because she's all wind up and just had dinner with the lady. This is the time she'd bring it up. Not over the kettle. Mm-hmm. From a writing narrative standpoint, that's when she would bring it up. And she'd be like, oh, yeah, and that bitch, you know what I mean? That would be the moment.
And that's kind of more, I'm going to slightly disagree with you on that in the sense, I think that's the more realistic approach for it. In a narrative sense, bringing up the affair at a higher point of tension between the two would it just narratively, like in a character arc sense.
No, but okay, fine. But I'm gonna rebuttal with in that scene too. It hasn't gotten to the tension. It was really passive aggressive. Mm-hmm. So have Watts character Joan bring up her looking really good. Give us a little bit from the dialogue that she has a real issue with that woman. Then in the next flashback scene, bring up the affair. Then you go, oh, yeah. That's why she kept bringing up that woman.
That I agree with, yes. But
it's just weird.
It just, it's there is just little things in this movie. It's unanswered questions.
Yeah.
Which is really unfortunate because, Matthew McConaughey's performance is absolutely outstanding. Watanabe is also really good with what little he is given. And even Naomi Watts, like, I hated her, but I felt so bad for her as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, the movie did become...
I had my own personal, like, I don't think, like, everyone watching would be like, fuck her, but I had that response.
Yeah, I mean, because it touches on a relationship that you can tell there's definitely love there. You know, that's the idea. But I mean, even like what I said to you was, hate stems from love.
Yes,
and it does get to a point where it's just hard to put aside it's hard to see that sometimes, and they both...
especially when you hold on and harbor feelings.
Yeah, and they both
you use it as ammunition.
And they both just don't seem very willing to do the work.
Yeah.
It's you could argue it's a prideful thing. It's whatever. I don't.
Yeah.
But I totally lost my train of thought. Well, I mean, I think that my biggest, kind of to give more of a cohesive idea, I really like this movie. I really do. I think it's an interesting take on this particular sensitive subject matter. Little preachy, but I do think I don't think anyone likes but it was all a dream, thing.
Yeah.
At this point.
But it was all a spirit.
Yeah, and that's kind of what this is, even in 2015. And I think I personally want to pat us on the back and say we kind of hit the nail on the head by making Ken's character a orchestrated event really cheapens the whole thing. Mm-hmm. After the initial, oh, that's so sweet, she was reaching out to him via the spirit world.
But then that's another thing. Sorry, do you have more to say on that?
Well, yeah, because it was like, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of What Dreams May Come.
Yeah.
But just not as...
Yeah.
Not as, like, heart-wrenching as that. And this whole kind of like, is it not?
No. Because it's like, if she is manifesting in a sense as Takumi, and I think I already brought this up, is like, why is she fabricating a life of his? Why can't she like find a way to maybe discreetly be who she is in this
what dreams may
body?
come?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, why are you fabricating a stranger?
Yes.
Like, if there is this afterlife, granted, we did discuss that maybe it is actually some form of a side effect to the medication.
Yeah.
But if, let's just say, just for argument's sake, because that's what the movie's kind of implying, is that it's a spiritual thing, that he had a spiritual awakening, and you are now this spirit, and you're trying to help your husband get through the grieving and pass the guilt and, come out the other side. Why aren't you representing yourself as someone that was dear to him? Like, I don't know, his wife, the one he is sorry to that he can't say sorry, because I also wouldn't really, I don't know if that would really make an interesting movie if like he goes and then suddenly she's there and she's like, I forget, that's not very an interesting journey.
I'm here to help you through your journey.
Yeah.
Back.
So like objectively, that's not a very interesting journey to go through.
It's interesting is like she, and again, we don't know if this is, because it's a very weird shift in a scene. She's realizing her mortality, getting ready to go, because she gets diagnosed with a tumor. And they don't know if it's malignant or not, and it's in her brain. And so she has to get this like really invasive surgery done. And she's afraid that she's going to die on the operating table. And she says to him, don't die in a place like that and like this. Regardless, like, just if she passes, she doesn't want him. She wants him to die in a peaceful, like, better way.
Yeah.
And so he takes that to heart when she gets Because then she also is fine, and then we get emotionally like fucking manipulated. This whole thing of like, oh, she's alive, but what is she actually dead?
I thought that was great.
I thought it was a really cop out thing.
I liked it. I really did.
It really drove the reason why he would take himself.
Well, that's because that's what it is. It was just like this gut punch, especially as soon as they like were getting ready to transfer her. I went, fuck.
Well,
like I knew it was coming, but I was like,
it feels like an extreme overthought thing about grief because sure, let's say she does pass away through just the surgery. You know, a writer can look at that and be like, well, it's that can drive a person to take their own life because they lost their loved one. They have the heartache. They can't live on without this person. What if they say, now what if they survived, but then they're taken away in a tragic event? It's like, what the fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's escalating, and I don't know. It's fucking Jurassic Bark. Like, you're like, oh, yeah, Seymour did have a nice life. And then they show him waiting for Fry to come back and dying of old age alone. And you're like, that wasn't necessary.
There's something different about that, though. And I can't explain it to you right now. It's down inside my heart and my soul. But there is something just a little bit different about that.
But I think it's like that. The violent imagery of that traumatic crash is the final over the ledge.
It's the buying the ticket to Japan.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, because that is a thing that goes back into just, we're talking about them basically going to counseling and getting their stuff worked out. Mm-hmm. That is you need to go to counseling.
Yeah.
Because that will break you. It's like anyone. Like, you're like, okay, we're having the scary thing.
The mailman's like, oh, have you been away?
He's completely...
Yeah, he's like, your mail's still there. Like, because I haven't brought it in.
He's having like the longest dissociative episode because he just doesn't know how to deal with it. And it's like, yeah, well, that, we want our character to get to that point. Mm-hmm. How can we get him to that point? And that would do it.
It would, yeah. And I'm not disagreeing with that. It just felt like an extra step that wasn't needed because in a writing sense, it could have just been the grief of losing his wife.
Yeah, they really wanted to double down.
They really wanted to double down on it. That's why it feels emotionally manipulated.
Yeah, but also I agree with you, but I'm also like, yeah, like double down. Like there's kind of like this woo Wild West, like fuck it, let's go. Like I don't know. I kind of like. And especially the fact that I knew it was coming.
No, yeah, we both, it's like, God damn it, it's going to happen.
This is going to suck.
This is suck.
Yeah, but...
And again, and that's also another thing is that...
And the dude can't stop falling off cliffs.
Well, he's all drugged up.
Yeah.
And hallucinating.
Yeah. Seeing random Japanese spirits or random men.
Jesus Christ. And I guess also now that I think about it is like his spiritual awakening isn't necessarily like I now believe in God. It's maybe there's something more to this wild life.
Yeah, it's not like he suddenly becomes a born again Christian. Yeah. I mean, we never get that far, but
because even like when he realizes the two words meaning yellow and
also, why couldn't the receptionist have told him that? Sorry,
I don't know.
Like
the receptionist can be like, why do you have these two random words right now?
No, because he said the names to her.
Oh, true.
And he could, and then the other
and
kid,
then the kid
is like, that's not really
not necessarily named, but I mean, if he's seeing not necessarily our names, I guess, because there's people named Winter.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't know.
There's no one really named Yellow that I know of.
but like the way it was stated to me, it was like he was kind of like saying culturally, no, not really.
Yeah,
they don't really name.
Oh,
children.
She did kind of have like a weird like.
Yeah, but spit it out, sister. Like,
I think because she was probably having this like this is a language mistranslation thing probably.
Maybe, but I don't know.
I just forgot about that. She's kind of like, wait, what?
Yeah, but she should. Yeah, but she she bit her tongue and it's like, well, no, you should.
I'm not going to tell this man these aren't names. I don't know.
Well, that might he's.
It's like saying
he's talking about something.
Their name is El, like in Spanish. Like El.
Yeah, and you'd be like, well,
no, that's not a name.
I think you would bring it up, especially if you have a distraught guy who's talking about another human that 2 weeks ago was also lost in the woods with him. You think you'd want to try and get as much information about it as possible. I don't know. I just thought it was weird. That was another one of those.
Their name was La and Este. Like, well, the and this? That's what?
It feels like a weird little cutting thing, Where you're like. Yeah, you should have probably explained that, like, and then he gets all the way back home. He has this whole thing, and then this random white kid in his class is like, I'm fluent in Japanese. Those aren't names. Yeah, I don't know.
Because it all comes full circle.
And that's what I meant too about the big twist.
Because it all becomes
the big twist being very kind of
him
forced.
letting go
It's
of
like,
his grief.
and it's like even that it didn't really have to be, because even that scene with him at the stairs crawling over there, that was really long.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you could have trimmed that up a little bit and then put more into this grand, I like orchids now reveal.
Orchids are now his extension of his wife.
Yeah,
Because I guess they're her favorite flower. We know that it's never said, but I'm gonna guess.
Well, no, it's like just in this forest, flowers bloom when a soul crosses over. Right. But I did look into it, and I didn't really see anything about orchids being common there.
Oh, in Japan.
Well, in that region, but it would make sense because of volcanic rock. But I don't know. I don't know enough about orchids, so I'm gonna pretend like I didn't say any of that. Good thing it's not on camera.
Did you look up to see if orchids were poisonous like I thought?
No.
Okay.
Now I am. Are
orchids poisonous?
Toxic.
Toxic for humans? I think they are. I think so.
No, orchids are generally considered non-toxic to humans, including children and babies, while some species may rare allergic. Blah, 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 blah. So.
Well, sorry.
They look like they would be.
Right.
Beautiful,
you know what I'm thinking
deadly.
of? The night orchid in Baldur's Gate.
I have a song to show you. Speaking of Baldur's Gate.
All right.
It's a song to Gale about Mista.
Oh dear Lord!
It's like
a toss a coin to the Witcher type thing.
Oh no! It's like a toxic emo song. Like like you're into like a toxic girl thing, like that era.
No. All right.
Yeah, I heard it today and I was like, I gotta show this.
All right. Yeah, I'm down. I'm down for that. All right. We're not even at an hour, but I feel like I don't know what else we can talk about. What are we at? 54.
Oh, then yeah, I thought you were gonna be like 30 minutes.
Oh no!
What the hell? The fuck?
What is your concept of time?
No, that's why I was really confused. Yeah, I mean, we could just get into the rating because it's like I know you're not gonna go for it, but I honestly think that this could be a 3 because I think it's good because it is heavy-handed in preaching, but the message that it's trying to deliver does not get lost. It is a story about dealing with not only just grief, but he is grieving the lost time with his partner to try and fix things. That is what he's grieving. Even when they have the conversation about why he's trying to end his life, it is not about necessarily even sadness. It is about this guilt he feels for now feeling like he doesn't know her and he will never get the chance to right the wrongs that they did to each other. It's not even just him being a martyr and getting up on the cross.
It felt like they were given opportunity of a second chance together.
Yeah. And I think that's maybe why once I had kind of that thought of what dreams may come.
But it's not as good as what.
No. But Dreams May Come is a wild afterlife movie between the visuals, the acting, like everything about that movie is like, boom. This has the score. This has little things like the visuals are pretty good. The acting's good. The music isn't great. The writing just is a little.
I say a 2.5 because I agree with everything you're saying, but I think I feel like a lot of the ideas in it are of overcoming this grief and everything are forced narrative wise, like from the script, not from the actors or anything.
That's a fair point. It's just the writing itself they did a lot with what they were given. Yeah. And they weren't given a whole lot.
Like if the performances from them weren't as good, I would say this is going down to like a 2 or a 1.5.
That's an interesting thing though too, because if they hadn't had gotten people that were as good at their jobs as they are, this would have been really rough.
Even Gus Van Sant's directing of it kind of helps visually through line in a way as well. But
this is a good example of actors turning a not great script around a little bit just by their performances alone.
Yeah.
Because even then, it's like Watts and Ken, but like I'm thinking about Watts just because she like you pointed out, she does have more development just because we get her in more situations as opposed to just the spiritual, But
we get a contrived version of her, I feel, as well.
But but the brief moments we get, she really lands it.
Such small amount of screen time with such powerful performances.
Yeah,
I had the most emotional response from anyone in this film from her, and she had the least amount of screen time. Well, out of our leads.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say a 2.5 because of just the forced feeling of all of it.
I mean, I agree with that.
Yeah. So a 2.5?
Well, I'm trying to think of what would a 2.5 be translated into terminology. Like we said, like 3 is good, 4 is great.
2.5, right in the middle. It's neutral. It's just like, yeah, how we felt about the movie. We're done. Yeah.
No, neutral was Billy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a Billy.
Oh, you're thinking like neutralizing, like it's not even on the scale. It's just
we're gonna forget it. I don't think I'm gonna forget about it. There's movies that even now I look at the bookmarks and I'm like, I said, fuck it, I remember doing that one.
Aeon Flux.
We did Ultraviolet.
Yeah, I know. I said the wrong one to see if I could get you.
I thought you were just like you'd forgotten.
Nope. I was like, I'm gonna see if he can.
God, I could feel it. I could feel my brain pushing through. Like, which one? I mean, yeah. I if we were gonna ever start doing the 2.75, I would argue that. But
yeah.
But 2.5 is good, I guess. Because it is. That's like I think. Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna get into that repeating myself thing, but I think its message is clear. I think it's a pretty well done movie, at least in.
I think it also does. It hurts it that the use of Watanabe as a character, like Takumi as a character, and it being this what I talked about at the beginning before the reviews, this like mystic Asian person.
Well, with that too, it's like
white savior thing.
That's the identity thing, though. It's like, okay, is he a spiritual guide or is he a person?
It's very unclear.
Like, is he, because they did start doing that fleshed out, like you were saying. We did this whole fucking song and dance, and even to the point of not just like basic of like, oh, do you have a child? And he's like, yes, my child is blah. It's like, no, I have a job, and then my job got that. It's like we have this whole thing. And we just never.
They have a whole reason why he's there with his wrists cut up.
Yeah, and even like the pills. There's all these weird little moments where you're like, and that's where a lot of the identity kind of problem comes from. But I want to go to this forest. I want to check it out.
I would feel weird actually. I get the intrigue, but I would feel really uncomfortable doing it because of its cultural influence on the world.
I mean, I wouldn't do Paul and start
filming
shit.
No.
I mean, my thing to why
it feels like as just like to go there in some type of like aspect of tourist attraction is very disrespectful to Japanese culture.
What is it called?
Like, I get the intrigue of wanting to
the king of the Valley of Kings, or what is it
Valley
called?
of Kings, what?
And it's a place in Hawaii.
That's become like a tourist attraction.
And it is wild. You're like, because it's a cemetery and there's temples there, and so you go around and there's a lot of different graveyards that are different culturally. There's the Buddhist and then there's the Christian and the Jewish, and
has it been repurposed as a tourist attraction?
Just people go there, and it's like it's this beautiful, serene place covered in people, and they're ringing the. It's really sad. I was like, man, if I was a local, I would be really not cool with the. But the reason I want to go to this forest is mainly because I'm really curious about the energy of the place.
We can take a Ouija board in there.
No. Like this is something that I would want to, like, if we ever did, like, our friends went to Japan, it's like actually something like, hey, I'm going to go on my own and I'm going to go do this thing.
If we're in the neighborhood of it.
No, I would like go out and just do
Spend a day to go out on your own, do it and come back.
I just think it would be a really interesting kind of reflection in just I just am very curious about, I would be really respectful. I wouldn't be like, don't hey, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, just be quiet.
I don't know. I might want you to call me and check in every once in a while because you're going to a forest that's known for people taking their lives.
I just think that it'd be very interesting. And there was actually a book I wrote down. Oh, I guess I wrote on a Post-it. There was actually a book of poetry where a bunch of people.
Oh, interesting.
Poets went in there and recorded and wrote poetry.
That's kind of cool.
On their experience. And, you know, and I was just like, that sounds... I think it would be a very interesting experience to be like, oh, yeah, I went there, you know, and just, this is what it was like, you know. I just think it'd be interesting.
Well,
I got to write down the rating.
2.5.
All right. So,
which is actually, I will say, an unfortunate rating for a movie that really has the potential to be so much more interesting.
Yeah, and it's like I still want to go to a 3, but I can't think of a good enough argument to really push it up there. So I relinquish. So
we do a good back and forth on that, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just one of, you know, it's the same thing that we say in the intro.
Yeah,
I liked it and you didn't really.
I mean, like, it's not that I didn't.
No, but I liked it more, and that's fine. That's my opinion. And
what do we do next week?
We have to come to a happy compromise for this show. If we were at home, this could turn into a very different argument.
You're gonna look at me and tell me I'm wrong.
Her sister was the witch. Grow up, bro.
No, Padme died due to heartbreak.
Grow up, bro.
All right. Anywho, what are we doing next week?
I don't know.
You don't remember? You don't remember?
Fountain of Life.
It's not called the Fountain of Life.
I don't. That's
you mixed the fountain and the tree of life.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of the Tree of Life that got panned.
I think they both kind of got panned.
So which one are we doing?
We're doing the Fountain.
Okay. So
Darren Aronofsky, not Terrence Malick.
Okay. I guess we're doing the Fountain, which is another story. I don't really know anything about it. So
I saw it. I remember in the theaters, I want to say, when it came out.
I know it's visually cool.
I wonder if you're going to like this at all. Because it's weird.
I don't know. My thing is if it's movies, I'm pretty happy claim if it's movies.
I just realized it's both people we have done. This might be our Rachel Weisz might take our top person we've done after this. So we've only done one huge actor.
I'm pretty happy as a claim as long as it's not something I've seen before.
That's fair. Unless it's something you really want to like have a reflection on.
Yeah, unless it's something that really like we're doing like a nostalgia kick. I really just like watching new movies. So.
Yeah,
and same. It's so new. I might have seen it, but I don't know. Anyways, so so join us next week for The Fountain.
Because he loses his wife. That's why.
The Fountain.
The Fountain.
This was episode 239 of The Sea of Trees, which we gave a 2.5 out of 5.
Thank you for the recommendation.
Yes, thank you for the recommendation. Love you. And then we got to do our 2.
Oh, that's right.
Fuck no. It was Leo and Pitt.
They're in a movie together.
Yeah. Oh, that's not going to work. Jackie Chan and Jamie Foxx.
All right. I like it.
Okay. So, Chan to Fox. That might be interesting. Well, Jackie Chan's thing is he's in so many buddy.
Yeah.
You know.
So, I mean, you got Rush Hour, you got Shanghai Noon, you got The Karate Kid.
There's one there. I'm thinking of another one, but I can't remember what it's called. I can't remember who the other person is.
Shanghai Nights?
No. Anyways, yes. So if you can come up with a connection between Jackie Chan and Jamie Foxx, cool. If you can't, whatever.
I love Jackie Chan.
We use, just to throw it out there, we use Connect the Stars.
ConnectTheStars.xyz
is a website where you just hit a button and it pulls up random people, and then you can type in stuff and see what the connections are.
It's actually a fun thing to do with like some buddies while you're just hanging out to kill some time.
It just, the only thing, and if you ever hear this, Connect the Stars, just do an autofill. I don't know if that's possible, but I want that.
Like just, for the quickest connections?
You don't have to be quick.
Just do an autofill for you?
You just, there you go. You know, just.
Yeah, but that takes the fun out of it.
You don't have to press the button. It's the cheat code argument. You don't have to use the cheat codes.
People are going to use the cheat codes.
If they want to, they can. Okay, woo. You're an adult. Calm down.
Have you seen that meme?
No.
I'm going to show it to you. All right.
But yes, please follow us on Facebook and Instagram. On there are all our promos, so you can see what's coming up next. And on those promos is the link tree where you can find all our episodes on Spotify, Apple, YouTube. If you're listening, we do video. If that's something you want to do. Look at these beautiful faces for an hour. This is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's mixtape.